Well, I mean, coal liquefaction, we kind of proved it out here with this method. I mean, yes, there's coal coming in and there's steam coming into this as opposed to crude oil, but we figured it out here by doing the heavy oil net output. You just have to be careful that you use circuit conditions and pumps to make sure that your heavy oil goes first back into the inputs of the refinery, which I guess I could show what I mean with that. We have a refinery here. So if you're doing coal liquefaction and you're taking these outputs like this, I'm not going to hook them all up, but if you just take your heavy oil output like this, and let's say you put this into a tank, like that. So we have a row of these out here. We have them all interconnected with the heavy oil here. We need to put a pump in. Keep closing it before I finish. We need to put a pump in here and feed this back in using pipes in some method. And then this pump runs all the time. And then let's say you wanted to output. Okay, so let's say you take your fluid bus like this, too far, like that, and let's say then you wanted to split off your chemical plant for making lubricant. You could split that off here, like this, but instead of connecting it directly, you'd want to connect a pump in here, like this, and then use circuit conditions, like with a big power pole, to connect this pump to this tank, and say, okay, when this tank's value of heavy oil is greater than something small, maybe 1,000, you don't need much in there, just enough to allow this pump to run first. Anytime there's more than 1,000 heavy oil in this tank, then you can make lubricant. And then anytime you have, say, enough lubricant, then you can do a circuit condition on this and feed that into another chemical plant making or doing the cracking. Which isn't a bad spot, but you get the idea. So, just when you're doing something like coal liquefaction, you want to make sure that you are controlling the output properly so that you don't starve out your coal liquefaction by not allowing the heavy oil to come back in first. You could, but so I like to have a different circuit condition on the... Yeah, so you could put a pump here. That's true. This pump could be right here, and then you just put this one here to control, to make sure that the cracking only goes when I have enough lubricant. And yeah, that's true. Coal liquefaction is a good way to get rid of wood because you need to make the steam using a boiler. And you can fuel the boilers with wood. So you still need the coal for the actual liquefaction, but you can feed the wood into the boilers to make the steam. So that's a good suggestion too, with that. So, but we could follow what we calculated here, that we need, if we wanted to have this much petroleum gas, we need this many refineries, this many of each of the cracking machines, and we would get this much petroleum gas in the end per second. When we're building it in game, the formulas work out well. So I think I'm going to end it here. We're just past 3.5 hours, so that's a pretty good length stream. And if anyone has any follow-up questions, Helmud, sure, yeah, Helmud can handle this loop. If we looked at if we substituted in here the other recipe, I'd have to delete this and recreate it. But yeah, Helmud can handle it. Helmud would just show the same kind of concept, it would show, instead of showing the 90 output here and the whatever input here, it would just show the 65, I think, as the net output. But yeah, Helmod can handle the coal liquefaction loop. No problemo. Actually, I could just quickly pull it up here. Wouldn't take much. Say we want... do the 150 again. Oh, so it does show the separate input and outputs, but if we look at the whole thing, it shows the net... the net output of the two. And if we added in the recipes for cracking... and we did the matrix solver, it solves for it. It tells us we need 14, 9, and 13. That's 180. 150, 14, 9, and 13. Which is the same. So that's where the matrix solver is really good. And Kirk McDonald works the same way without anything fancy. It just automatically assumes that you want anything surplus cracked down to petroleum gas.